Stop by to interact with the community and I every Friday night at 8 o'clock for Livestream Fridays.
Welcome, trolls. First sees all.
Now, let's go back to the lunar waves I caught just for a moment. Doesn't it look like, what I get most in the comments is that people say it looks like water. And I get that it looks like a hologram. Those are the two comments that I get all the time on these lunar waves. And let me tell you that could the moon, not ridiculously, but, and we're talking theory here, could it be enveloped in an envelope of water? It looks like it. I'm telling you what it looks like visually, and a lot of people say that there could be a water form around the moon. And, it really looks like that sometimes because it looks like a massive wave. And yes, it does look holographic at times when we see it going back and forth like that. But imagine an envelope of water around it. And why am I talking about this? Imagine that the sun would be shining on this water and that we would see a very illuminated surface. Theoretically speaking, it would be interesting if that's what was causing the moon to look illuminated and at the same time showing us a gray surface. And now, those of you talking about holograms, theoretically speaking again, why could the hologram not be projected in that water somehow? And that layer of water is keeping, like a greenhouse effect, the heat inside of the moon itself from the reflection of the sun, thus keeping the water liquefied. So in this video, we're really focusing on that veil that's around the surface of the moon that we don't know what it is. But I assure you guys, when look up what a membrane is. It's that thin layer of tissue, okay, that's holding all the nutrients inside of for the fetus, when in the womb of a mother. And I'm serious, that's what it looks like. What are we looking at here? That layer is hiding these structures. So you're looking at a straight up shot, no filtering, right there. And look at all the objects on the surface inside of the crater and out. And there's a wall there going around, a bunch of stuff, a towering object. Now listen, this is all beside the Terminator line. You're not going to tell me that this is not the most amazing proof of a built structure. There's no one that can say anything about it. Even the bloody crater in the center there has a flat surface. These white objects on the left, again, I can't say it enough, have the same reflectivity as the surface. And that's the only reason why nobody's seen them. But when you take the time with your eye and you look at the objects, you go, for Pete's sakes, they're bloody building objects, like constructed objects. This here, massive, almost cement-like wall. I must have gotten 15 or 20 people that told me they went to see the surface in the southern highlands right here beside Clavius Crater, and they saw nothing. I keep telling them to look along the Terminator line because it's what's showing us the structures. I don't see any structures unless that Terminator line is there, which is that black, dark line that goes across the moon as the phase progresses throughout the month. Look at this straight edge seen from far out, obviously because the structures have the same reflectivity as the surface, better seen from far away. That's a massive cover or object constructed over top of two supposed craters. So underneath that, whatever's going on, or inside this, whatever it is, it's constructed. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical for you to see. Duh. It's definitely constructed. No way in hell that that's natural. And many of the craters have those covers over top of them, and they have the same reflectivity as the surface. In astronomy, libration is the wagging of the moon perceived by us here, the observers, on Earth. Changes in our perspectives, they say, that we see. What's libration, guys? You know how the beautiful moon is always wobbling, changing and shifting and tilting? Well, it's not only rotating and tilting. Listen up, there are different types of libration and different ways to calculate libration, which is very interesting. And also, it permits us as an observer to see slightly different halves of the surface at different times, even the dark side. It's similar in both cause and effect to the changes of the moon's apparent size due to the changes. Also, guys, in the distance. So as you can see, the moon is rocking and rolling. It's going away. It's coming to and forth, to and from, to and from. So it's caused by three mechanisms, they say. This is the explanation, the astronomical explanation. I'm talking about, first of all, causing a relatively tiny physical libration, they say, via tidal forces. And then we'll talk about lunar libration. But before that, the tidal forces, an apparent force that stretches a body towards and away from the center of mass of another body due to a gradient difference in strength. So they each have a different gravitational field and strength, both the moon and Earth, from the other body. So this is what's happening. It's responsible for diverse phenomena, they also say, including here, the tides, tidal locking, and get this, breaking apart of celestial bodies and formation of ring systems. So because of Earth, we could pull in a whole star system and the stars will come down towards Earth just by the pull and gravity. Black holes and stars, they're just finding this out, that the tidal forces of them and gravitational forces of them can attract entire systems and even galaxies to collide together. So now we're going to go back and talk about the lunar libration, another type of libration. So the moon keeps one hemisphere of itself facing the Earth due to the tidal locking, they say. But the libration in longitude results from the eccentricity of the moon's orbit around Earth. The moon's rotation sometimes leads and sometimes lags its orbital position. And that's awesome, meaning the moon is sometimes faster than the Earth as it's locked in place due to tidal waves, and it's still doing its rotation, and sometimes it's gaining speed and at times it's losing speed, again going further and getting closer. You could see the top. So to see literally the dark side or a part of it, see the Terminator line as it's getting dark, the front top part is coming this way. And look, there you start taking photos, you start getting live shots, and you're seeing a very hidden part of the moon that we don't see. Like right now, it's already hidden as it's rolling back. But now you see, when I showed you the tilt that I showed you, Mercurium this is 6%, they say, 6 or 7%. Now, wait a minute. I'm getting a 14-15% tilt. So there is more of a tilt for whatever the reason. Is it because of the tidal forces? I don't know. So if this is all true, if Earth's tidal waves change, the force of gravity of Earth changes, that means it could drastically change and or shift the moon.